Welcome to the MagiReco news. I'm your anchor, the Razielem, now with 100% less bold jokes. Our top story today. For some reason, there's already new news. I just thought that they're going to run the next event for the coming like 10 or so days, and then we're going to get the new news for what they're doing after the event. However, as was already kind of speculated in one of the things they could do for the anniversary event, there were multiple theories. One of them included that they don't really do Chapter 10 that much at all and just do a whole bunch of other stuff and then rerun Ultimate Madoka for the anniversary and then move on with other stuff and do Chapter 10 later. Another theory involved that they just smashed Chapter 10 out the door in these last few days that we have before the anniversary happens, and people thought, yeah, it's possible, but not very probable. But, well, as people said, it was possible, and that's exactly what is going to happen. So first off, new Magia report. Okay, let's move on. We have the last Magia campaign. That is not as important as Sana actually getting a 5-star uncap already. Now, of course, Sana was one of the new characters that would get an uncap as the next step. However, Iroha was also supposed to get an uncap probably before that. So on the Japanese server, there was this image that we had of like 5 shadowy figures, and the news said these 5 characters are going to get their uncap next. And these 5 silhouettes were, I think, like Oriko in there, I think Asuka was in there, I'm not quite sure, I think Nanaka was in there as well. So basically, we've been shown the next few uncaps, and Sana's silhouette was the last silhouette that hasn't gotten their uncap, and we all knew Sana was going to get the next uncap. And then randomly Iroha got an uncap before Sana, which of course is yet another testament to how much the developers really hate Sana and just want to bash her at any opportunity they get. At least now on the North American server, Sana's getting a double first. Take that, Iroha. That's what you get for going with another girlfriend instead over Sana. So yeah, she's getting her uncap. I might make a video about how good she is. But if you want the TLDR, if you like Sana, she's good. That's basically it. And she's also decently good as a defensive tank. Yeah, she's actually really good as a defensive tank, actually. But now with the actual stuff that you came here for, the last but very much not least at all, the last Magia campaign. So as you can see on these dates down here, you might be used to main story releases taking maybe like 1 or 2 weeks between each individual episode. Now, if we actually compare this to the Japanese release, what they did for Chapter 10 is they actually did something very similar, where they also bashed out the individual episodes really quickly with just 3 days between episode 1, 2, and 3. So if we take a look back at this, then yeah, we can actually see that this is indeed similar to how the Japanese server did it. However, there was then another week for the next chapter, and then another 10 days for the next chapter, in between which the last Magia event happens. So between episode 4 and 5, that's where last Magia happens. But we see that it is indeed a bit faster on the North American server, and I know people might say, oh yeah, of course it's faster, it's NA tempo. But at the same time, we've been going really slow the past month. The past month has actually been going slower than JP usually is. People don't usually mention this, because everyone's always like, oh yeah, NA pace, it's like way too fast. Oh my god, do you see how fast we are? We've been going slower than JP for the last month. So it only is fair that we're now actually speeding up a little bit, just a little bit, to catch up again. So yeah, Chapter 10 is going to get bashed out the door in just like 10 days. However, as you some astute viewers might already have realized, oh, wait a second, you've said episode 5, episode 5 isn't even on this image. That's right. So you have to do the first 4 episodes. After you do these first 4 episodes, then Last Magia happens. Last Magia is an event that's going to last maybe like 3 days, depending on how much the servers die and explode as they did on JP when this happened, and also on how much the raid boss is going to get defeated in like a few minutes. So if you've never played the Last Magia, so basically if you haven't played it on JP, or on the Taiwanese server, I think they were also, not Taiwanese, sorry, the Chinese server, they have had the Last Magia event also rather recently. So basically it's a raid event where you're going to fight against a really big boss, and you just do as much damage as you can. At the end of the stage, it will say, you've done this much damage, good job. And then you go into the stage again and you try again to do a lot of damage. And that's basically how the event's gonna go. And then once all of the entire community has done enough damage, the boss dies. If you've done raids in FGO, it's very much similar. And there's also different types of bosses that you will have to go through one after another, and once a boss has been defeated, you can fight that boss only like a single time just to advance the story, and then you're going to go to the next boss. Once the last Magia event is over, you can't fight that big boss like that anymore. However, there will still be fights against that boss during the regular story chapters, and then in the future, after this event is over, people will just play the boss fight as part of the story chapters, but not really as a raid boss as it is in the event. So yeah, episode 5 is supposed to come right after the last Magia has concluded. This does not show episode 5 anywhere. I assume it's because in order for episode 5 to be released, the last Magia needs to be completed, and however, it depends on the community. However long Last Magia takes. On the Japanese server, people were really quick in defeating the boss many times. So it actually went really fast on the Japanese server. It's possible that on the North American server, people just don't do that much damage, or they get lazy, and the boss survives for another day. Who knows? So yeah, episode 5 will be right after that, and then basically we just get the regular events that usually happen when a new main story chapter is released, like, oh, double experience and support points, you get double chance for great or super successful enhancers, you get half quest cost for old quests, you get limited time mission that just gives you a bunch of summoning tickets, you get login bonus, woo, you get a Last Magia set for some reason. So for 50 Magia Stones, you can buy a pack that includes all of this, which is definitely not worth it at all. I mean, if you just think about it, in theory, it is worth it, because 1 AP max potion, for example, already costs 5 gems, so 10 AP max potions would already be worth 50 gems. However, as we all know, we're all drowning in AP potions anyway, and we're getting so many more each day that these don't have any worth anymore. Also, curse chips, just 50,000. 50,000 is not a whole lot. If anything, it's probably like nothing actually. 10 master gems plus, yeah, it's also pretty much nothing, so none of these are really important. The only thing that could do anything important is the last Magia ticket. I don't know what the ticket is going to get you yet. You'll have to check the shop. But if the 75 last Magia tickets don't give you anything awesome, then this last Magia set will be absolutely not worth it at all. Like if 75 tickets is enough for like 2 or 3 rainbow orbs, it still wouldn't be worth the 50 Magia stones. Not that 50 Magia stones is a lot. It's just that the rewards are also pretty much nothing. So yeah, I guess if you've just started the game and you're on 0 IP max potions, this would actually be an alright set. Like if you really just started the game, like on the day the last Magia releases, but otherwise, not so much. The login bonus is just more stones and AP potions. Surprised they didn't give more last Magia tickets on the login bonus, but whatever. That's it for the most part about the last Magia campaign. So what do I think about what's going to happen during the anniversary? As some of you might already know, the anniversary begins on the 25th or the 26th. Yeah, somewhere around this date of June the anniversary begins. So it seems like the last Magia event will indeed be the first wave of the anniversary event. And once that event has happened, what will they do then? So the idea that is going around is that episode 5 is required for Iroyachi to be released. Now, they could just say, oh, let's not wait for the last Magia event to be over, let's not wait until we can release episode 5 and go through episode 5 and then release Iroyachi. We can just say we're going to release Iroyachi like a few days before the actual main story bit happens that explains why Iroyachi is even a unit, because that's like kind of a bit of story spoilers, but at the same time they could just either release her and not have any story content surrounding her whatsoever, or they could just not release her and wait until episode 5 is over and then kick her out the door. Like, they could just say, we're going to wait until the last Magia event has finished, but we're already going to start the anniversary. We're already going to rerun Ultimatica, we're going to rerun a whole bunch of limited characters like Holy Aina, like Holy Mummy, other characters. Like, they're probably, we don't know for sure, but they're probably going to rerun a whole bunch of limited characters at once. So there's going to be like 20 different gachas you can choose from. You're going to get a bunch of anniversary bonuses or whatever, depending on what they do. We really don't know yet, but it's possible they just do that for a bit, for like a few days, and then as soon as Last Magia has been defeated and episode 5 gets released, then they immediately kick out Iriachi. They could do it like that. So since the anniversary usually lasts for like 7 or 10 days as like one big event, it's possible that they really just wait a few days of the anniversary event until they can release Iriachi. That said, there's still some story spoilers. If they do the Iriachi event as well for anniversary, there are going to be some problems with spoilers for the Sakurako event. However, these spoilers are not so super duper important that it would stop them from running the event anyway, and they either try to cover up those spoilers or they instead do something like, well, I guess you're just going to get spoiled about the end of the Sakurako event. And they sort of shrug and move on. And then one Sakurako event afterwards, they go like, hey, do you remember that thing that we spoiled from the Iriachi event? That's going to be in the Sakurako event. I mean, like I said, it's not that super duper big of a spoiler. And I don't really care too much about spoilers, actually. So to me, it wouldn't be something that I would think is a problem at all. If you're a complete super duper purist who 100% doesn't want to get spoiled of any single bit of Pebble story content, then this would maybe be something, but also, like I said, they might even cover it up in the story, so who knows. There's also a bunch of memoria that talk about, in their flavor text, about some of the stuff that has happened. Some of that might be spoilers too, but at least after chapter 10 has concluded, these spoilers aren't that big. They're more minor spoilers, more light spoilers, so they could either cover those up or just say, yeah, whatever, light spoilers, who cares. So yeah, that's it for that. But most importantly, I needed to say something that I forgot to talk about. I wanted to talk about it during the other news that I did, but now let's talk about it again. I did forget to mention this, that you do, for the where is it? During this event you get drops, of course, part 1 and part 2 drops, and it does say equip the following memoria to increase the number of memory shells drop. I haven't tested this yet because I haven't actually played this yet. I've just gotten up and seen the news, but as it was on the Japanese version, this Mizu Homura memoria also gave you increased drops for this event. So if you still have this memoria lying around, test and see if this memoria still gives you increased drops for the Siroha event as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was the news. It was a bit, I know that for just 2 or 3 news that were really worthy to talk about, this still was quite a lengthy episode, mostly because people have told me they want to hear some more speculation about anniversary. So yeah, there you go, that was anniversary speculation. If you guys enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a comment, hit the like, whatever. See you guys next time.